Pandering.
Pandering.
Pandering. You had that right. You continue on that.
Pondering what to
You were
do.
pandering. Okay.
I was walking into the courthouse, and Jenna Portnoy cornered me.
Just happened to corner.
She did. She cornered me, and she asked me, "What is the deal with this bill? I hear you're looking at Acusations."
And she just happened to know that because she got a bit carrier pigeon.
Mr. Angley can believe what you
Well,
like.
Mr. Barron, make your story believable, and I'll listen.
It's the truth.
Yeah, she just happened to run in
And
and
as a
knew
matter
about the
of
letter
fact,
she hadn't
the
seen.
staff that walked by me that said hello to me while I was sitting right in the hallway with Jenna will tell you.
And then Sarah, of course, Jenna told Sarah because they share stuff because they're not competing papers. I understand how it happens, easy enough. What you said makes a lot of sense to me.
Any other questions?
Mr. Barron, your job as county controller should be a very non-political job. Yours should be detached from politics and be a non-political job.
Generally, yes.
Because it's your job to oversee everybody, Democrat, Republican, whatever.
Correct. I do run for office, though, so.
Well, that's pretty evident this year. I realize you're running for office. I see it in the newspaper about twice a week. Not in the form that you're making any good announcements, but that you got suggestions. Would you call it non-political to be over at Verizon making threats to the people who manage Verizon? Would you say that's non-political?
Verizon?
T-Mobile.
Well, T-Mobile. You can play dumb if you want. It comes natural. Was that non-political? Okay, you were over at Graysdale pandering to the union people. Is that non-political?
Over at Graysdale.
You're at every event that the Graysdale unions have. You're at every one of their events. Is that non-political?
Friends with those people, and I see them at
Oh,
Graysdale.
you're lifelong friends with all the union people at Graysdale. I understand that one too. Okay, so let me move ahead a little bit. By the way, your job should undisputedly be totally non-political. When you first took this job, I remember you being at the podium telling us that you would make this your full-time job, that it was a sizable pay increase from your previous job, and you'd be on the job full-time. How many hours a week do you work in your office? Now keep in mind, how long do you know to answer to every question I'm asking you, and I can prove my end of it. How many hours?
Hard to say.
Oh, hard to say? Well, if I were to tell you people who are very familiar with office, tell me you may work 15 to 17 hours per week actually in that office or in these buildings auditing. Would they be correct?
I don't know. You know, Ron.
Would they be correct?
You see me in the courthouse. I'm everywhere. I've had people
Simple
say
question,
to me,
Mr. Barron. My question was simple. How many hours per week are you in that office across the street or in here auditing stuff?
I'm done.
So I got a few more questions for you, Mr. Barron. You know why you're done, Mr. Barron? Your specialty is gutter sniping, dealing with these people behind the scenes. You know what? You got a solicitor, Mr. Barron, by the name of Timothy Brennan. Could you tell me how much money Mr. Brennan has donated to your campaign since you've been in office?
No.
Does he routinely send money to you every so many months?
He's my friend.
Oh, he's your friend. Does he have a county political job as a solicitor for you and he's on the county payroll? He routinely pays you to be on the... If there's one thing you remind me of, Mr. Barron, it's the days of Glenn Reben. And boy, nothing can bring the bad out in me than remembering the days of Glenn Reben. Your solicitor on a routine business day pays you for that job. You want to badmouth to Mr. Stofa? I've never seen him take a nickel from anybody that he shouldn't have took a nickel from. But you take that money and you want to make comments to the newspapers that there's something wrong because Eckert Siemens made 4 telephone calls to me. I didn't even call them, by the way, to update me on the sale. Are you saying that was wrong? What? You just put your hand. You know what, Mr. Brennan? You are a political hack, Mr. Brennan, of the highest order. You're over at T-Mobile pandering to the unions. You're over at Graysdale pandering to the unions. You are a gutless individual who spends 15 hours or less per week in that office. You tell the other people that you're doing work at home. In reality, you're out catering to the unions, Mr. Barron. So don't tell me about the wonderful job. And I wish you success in your election with the unions. Because if there's anything I've learned, there's a lot of people who don't belong to unions who also vote, Mr. Barron. And many people may vote against me because of Graysdale, because I'm making a decision solely based on, I believe it's the only decision I can make under the circumstances. I won't pander or cater to anybody, and I don't give a damn if you run my ass out of office next year, so be it. I can leave here saying every decision I made was the right decision. I don't pander over T-Mobile. I don't pander over at Graysdale. I don't go all these events and whatever. I don't badmouth other people on stuff that there's no truth. 4 calls from Eckert Siemens. They called me. Yet you got to the newspapers and told them a big story, and they loved it. They made front page news out of those stories. It wasn't an ounce of truth in any of it, Mr. Barron. But let the record show, when you dropped the minutes, that Mr. Barron retreated to a seat in the audience and refused to talk.